In order to remove the front wheel bearings from a Honda Goldwing, it will require that you purchase a special bearing puller tool. I will include a link in the description of this video if you are interested in purchasing a bearing puller tool. For my demonstration, I will be using a special modified bearing puller tool that I had fabricated just to pull the bearings from the Honda Goldwing. If you guys didn't see the video of my fabrication of my special bearing puller tool, click on the link at the top of this video and it'll show you my bearing puller tool that I'm using in this video. My first step is removing the front seals off of the Honda Goldwing. So I'm going to be putting on some gloves, keep my hands clean. Anytime I'm working with grease, I always wear rubber gloves. Some guys like to use their bare hands. I like to use rubber gloves, keep my fingernails and things like that free of dirt. Now, first thing I'm gonna do is remove the front seal. So I'm just gonna take a flat screwdriver and just kind of pry the front seal out of the front wheel. And you want to be careful when you do this because you could damage the seal unless you plan to reinstall brand new seals. So I'm just going to pop that. I'm going to just pop that front seal out. Okay. As you can see, the seals are two different sizes. Now that I have the front seals removed from the front wheel, the left side has a smaller seal. The right side has a larger seal. So, I'm going to take my blind bearing puller and basically I want to slip it over the bearings like so. And as I insert the wedge, it's going to spread the bearing and grab. So I marked a line exactly where the bearing puller should stop. I'm going to make my adjustment. I'm going to take my large crescent wrench and I'm going to have to crank this thing down. I want to get it nice and tight. Otherwise, the spreader will slip past the bearing. I'm going to get it nice and tight. Nice and tight. Okay, now I can take my modified bearing puller tool . Just work it down. And I'm just going to slowly turn it. And the hardest part about this is just making the adjustments. I could actually feel it grabbing the bearing. And that popping sound is a good sound. That means that the bearing is slowly coming to the top. There are special bearing puller tools that you could purchase to do this. I know you can purchase one off PARTZILLA. You can even get one at the dealership, an OEM bearing puller tool. They are very expensive. I decided to just modify and create a bearing puller tool. And so as I turn, the blind bearing puller is grabbing the bearing and it's pulling the bearing to the top. I could actually see the bearing being lifted. You can't see it from that angle, but I'll show you where the bearing will pop free. You'll see it come out in just a second as I turn. I can see the bearing coming out. She's almost there. I'm gonna just turn until the bearing comes free, like so. And there's the bearing. You can actually see where the bearing came through. And the toughest part is just making the adjustments. Just take that off. Remove the wedge. There's the bearing. The bearing is free. Now I can reach in and pull out the inner sleeve. Didn't do any damage. That sleeve is still good. Bearings are still good. The side that does not have the ABS ring is the first side that I started on. So I started on the left side, pulled out the sleeve, and now I'm starting on the right side where the ABS ring or the pulsar ring actually mounts to the wheel. So I did the left side first, and now I'm going to start on the right side. I'm going to take my bearing puller, push it down, take my wedge, wedge it in where it grabs the bearing. Take my crescent wrench, just crank it down just to make it tight. And the thing about this, it has to be really tight when you put the spreader inside of the blind puller. It has to be really tight. You don't want it sliding past the bearing. And now it's really tight. Now I can take my bearing puller. I'm just going to tighten it down on the shaft. Tighten down the shaft, make it tight. And now And now I can make that final adjustment. Like I said, once I get everything set up, it makes it a lot easier. Okay, now I can turn the shaft. Okay. So as I turn, I'm just going to grab that bearing. And that's a good sound. That popping sound is a good sound. That means that the bearing is being forced up. And this is something you don't want to rush. You know, you can take a slide hammer and you can beat the bearings out for 2 or 3 hours. But I find that this method, using my modified bearing puller, works better. I'm just going to keep turning it until that bearing comes out. I'm just going to crank it on around, and the bearing is going to come free. I can see the bearing being pulled. It's just rising to the top. It's kind of like fishing, where you hook the fish and bring the fish up to the top of the water. So as I turn this wrench, it's spreading and it's pulling the bearing to the top. Here in a second, it'll break free. There it is. There's the bearing. And now that it's free, I can take the shaft, slide it back down. And now the bearing is free. I didn't do any damage to that bearing. Removing the wedge. Now the bearing is free. I didn't damage the bearing. I can use this on a reinstall. Bearings are still good. Shaft is still good. Seals are still good. So the bearings are still good. Shaft is still good. No burrs or anything. Seals are still good. So as you can see, the bearings are now out of the front wheel. Okay, so in this portion of the video, I'm going to demonstrate removing the bearings from this front wheel. This is actually a brand new front wheel. It's never even been out of the package. So just set that to the side. This is a brand new front wheel. Came straight from the Honda dealer. It has a little arrow that lets you know which side of the wheel is facing. Since it spins forward and the valve stem is sticking outward, this would be the left side. It's more smooth on the right side, and it has the writing on the left side, the DOT numbers. So now, first thing we need to do is take out these seals. So I'm going to take my pry tool, just going to get in there and just pry the seal out. I don't want to damage that seal because I'm going to reinstall it at a later date. Okay, there's the seal off the left side. Let's see if the seal are the same sizes on the right. Okay, looking at the right side, just kind of pry that. Okay, this is the right side. So the seals are the same on the right as it is on the left for the front wheel that goes on the 2018 through the current year model. So we're going to start on the left side first. I'm going to start on the left side first. It has the writing on the wheel. And this will be the very first time that I've ever pulled the bearings out of a front wheel on a new style wheel. And again, this fits the year models 2018 through the current year. And this will be the very first time trying this. I've done this on the previous wheels. I've never done this on the newer wheels. So let's see if this blind bearing puller modification actually works. So I'm going to insert my blind bearing puller. Going to put in my spreader. Where it grabs that bearing. Okay, now I'm going to take my crescent wrench and my open box wrench, and we're going to just tighten it down. Make sure we get it good and tight. Nice and tight. Okay, now that we have it nice and tight, I'm going to just slide the shaft down on the spreader. And we're going to see how long it actually takes to get this thing out of here. I just want to get it adjusted. Get it adjusted where it gets tight. So now I'm just going to slowly turn, and as I turn, it should pull that bearing right out. I could actually feel it slipping, which is a good sign. And I'm just going to turn that bearing out of there. Doesn't take long at all. Would probably be a lot quicker if I had another set of hands, but I'm used to working alone. And I'm just going to turn that bearing out of there. I could actually feel the bearing coming to the top. Just going to turn that bearing out of there. I actually felt it broke free. There's the bearing. Now this is the bearing that comes out of the new wheel. Get that to the side. And I'm going to look at the bearing that came off of the previous generation, and I want to see if these bearings are the same size. So they actually look like the same bearings. I'm trying to see if there's a part number on here. So it appears that the bearing from the previous generation gold wing is the same bearings that's on the new gold wing. So the thing I like about this is that I can still use these bearings. These bearings are not damaged. They still spinning fine. Or I can easily just buy new bearings and put them in. Now I can reach in, bring out the sleeve. Let's compare and see if the sleeve from the wheel of the newer wheel is the same sleeve on the previous generation gold wing. They actually look the same. So just looking at it with the naked eye, they look identical. But I will verify that the sleeves are the same. So this is the sleeve on the newer wheel. And we just have one more bearing to pull out on the right side of the wheel. Gonna take my blind bearing puller, stick it in, take my wedge, spread the spreaders where it grabs that bearing. I'm going to just crank it down where it gets nice and tight. Nice and tight. Now take my puller, I'm just going to slide that shaft down on the spreader. Tighten down. And I'll probably hear a popping sound again. Let me know that it's working. And it probably would be easier if I had another set of hands. Get one set of hands to hold the puller and another set to turn the pulley. But when you're working alone, you have to take your time. I could actually feel it coming out, and it's pretty tough. I'm gonna turn it until the bearing comes out of the shaft. I can see it coming out. There it is. There's the bearing. There's the bearing. So there it is, no damage to the bearing. They're still intact. Both bearings still look good. The shaft is good. Seals are good. And I have as you can see, the bearings is out of the wheel. And this was the first time I've ever taken the bearings out of the newer wheel of the Goldwing, but I've done it in the past on the older style wheels. But the wheels are pretty much the same. The design is different. So now I can remove the valve stem. So to remove the valve stem, I'm using a 14 millimeter. I'm using a 14 millimeter socket. One bolt, and here's the valve stem with the rubber gasket. So this is going to complete the video of me removing the front wheel bearings from the front wheel of a 2001 through 2017 Honda Goldwing, and also removing the front wheel bearings from your models 2018 through the present year. So far, I like the way everything turned out. All of the bearings that was removed are still in good shape. They're not broken, they're not damaged, they're not scratched or burred, they're not marred. The inner collar or sleeve is still pretty good. The seals are still good. I can reinstall these at a later date. I have the valve stem removed out of the new wheel of the Honda Goldwing. And now I can send these front wheels off to get them powder coated, or I can send them off and get them chromed. If you guys have any questions about anything you've seen in this video, be sure to put it down in the comment section below. If you like this video, be sure to click the like button. This is your boy Chris, and I've just demonstrated to you using my modified blind bearing puller tool that I had fabricated. If you guys didn't see that video, be sure to click on that link at the top of this video if you want to see my blind bearing puller fabrication. And don't forget to click that bell notification. It'll notify you every time I post a new video. And I will include in the description of this video where you guys could purchase a bearing puller tool for your Honda Goldwing. Be sure to click that like button. Be sure to subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I will talk to you guys later. See ya.